G'day everyone and welcome to another Down Under Centre Migrating to Australia podcast. My name is Wes and I'm joined by Lisa Chambers, who runs our relocation department, and Gemma Teale, one of our migrants and also a lovely lady who's getting a little bit famous now on our relocation team. So Gemma and Lisa, welcome.
Hi, Wes.
Very same time there, girls. Well done. So Gemma, let's crack on, because I think, this is quite an interesting podcast for us because, you are part of our team now, which is exciting, but let's get to know your journey, and discover how you found Australia, give the listeners something to hear, which we aim to be quite interesting, I guess. So, Gemma, you've got your partner, Chris, who's a carpenter. Okay, we've got Hayden, who's 14, Mason, who's 9, and Felicity, who is 20. So let's start with, whereabouts in Australia do you live?
So I live in North Perth in Joondalup. It's a big suburb called Joondalup. Lived here a couple of years now. So yeah.
And how long you been in Australia for, Gem?
So it'll be 5 years in June. We actually emigrated to Adelaide initially. So we had 2.5 great years there. And then we decided to up sticks in October 2021 over to Perth. So yeah, we've just coming up to 5 years in June. I can't believe that. We're just in the middle of trying to sort out citizenship. So it's all quite busy.
I bet. Okay, so let's go back to the very beginning. So what sparked the move?
So it was really down to me wanting to move to Australia. When I had Mason back in 2014, I was sort of at home quite a lot with the baby, and I used to watch Wanted Down Under, funny enough. So I used to watch that all the time. I was literally obsessed with it, and I was like, I could do that. I could just do that, move to Australia, take the kids, and we'd have like a great life. So I started to migrate my husband, and he'd come home from work and I'd be like, what about a move to Australia? And he was just, at the beginning, he was like, no, like, we've got it nice here and why would we want to move? But I think just over time, he could start to see that we'd have like a better life out here. So we started to look into the visa process and, what visa we could get. So I started like doing my research on Facebook and with you guys, and just kind of fell a little bit obsessed with the idea of moving us all to Australia, and here we are nearly 5 years later.
Yeah, that's awesome. When you get the bug, you get the bug, that's for sure. So,
get the bug.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
So your partner's a carpenter, so we processed his skills assessment first, and did he do an English test to gain points for the visa?
So he initially started to look at the English test. He was struggling a little bit with the English. So we just decided back then to go for a state-sponsored visa. We got a 489 for SA. It just meant that we'd got, the 10 points towards the visa process. So we actually got away with doing the English test. It did attempt to do like the revision for it back then, but he just really was struggling, and I think it was stressing him out. So I think he just thought, right, let's just go down the state-sponsored route.
Gee, Gemma, you're bringing back a few memories there. The old 489, eh? Which is now the new 491, guys.
Yeah.
So, and you got 10 points back then instead of 15. So it's a little bit different. So, all right.
Yeah.
He did his so we processed his skills assessment. I mean, it's a long time. We're going back a little bit, but from when you signed up with so I guess from once he had his skills assessment to getting the visa granted, do you remember roughly how long that time took?
So it took a little bit of time because we had to prove, the TRA, had to go to the TRA to do, it was like all the bank statements and gathering the tax. That was what took us a while because Chris was self-employed in the UK. So I just remember that gap. I think it was probably 6 months, I think it took for the skills assessment. We did sort of initially take a little bit of time just to go through everything, gather everything. So it did take a little bit of time, but roughly around 6 months. But that's us being like a little bit lapsy-daisy as well. So
yeah, and there's so much to get. I mean, back then, we gave you different information to gather and stuff, and how we wanted things gathered. For clients listening now, we've made it a lot easier via the client portal that we use, which connects you directly with our assessors, which definitely speeds things up. But 6 months is pretty good. What about the time it took from when you lodged the visa to getting the visa grants? Because back then it was a little bit quicker, but just roughly what time do you think?
It was 14 months for our visa grant, but we actually emigrated out on a tourist visa because we were getting a little bit antsy and we wanted to move over. So it was pretty good, actually, because we come over in the June and it got granted in the September, so we didn't have to go offshore. But thinking back now, it was a bit of a risk because we'd not lodged onshore. So, but we did it and, it worked out for us. So, we kind of come out here and we had money behind us to support ourselves while we, weren't working and stuff. So it worked out pretty good for us.
But I think money is a factor when you're making those decisions for sure. But the amazing thing is, you arrived in bloody winter in South Australia, which isn't ideal, and you left summer. That was, you're playing that one a little bit like backwards, or do you?
God, I don't know. We literally arrived at like 9:30. We'd never been to Australia before with 3 kids, all these bags, and we were like, oh my gosh, what are we doing? But we got there and it was chilly and no, it was fine. We just went to the Airbnb and just embraced it, just like, got our coats on, got outside. It was a little bit rainy when we got there, but it soon heated up a couple of months later. So it was just nice to actually explore and it not being too hot. So, yeah.
And Gem, where's home? Like, where was home for you? I know you're probably going to say WA's home now, but where was home for you?
So we're from Leeds in West Yorkshire, up north. We're from, obviously it's quite chilly anyway where we're from anyway, so we're used to snow and rain, but you don't get very many long summer heat in England, do you, anymore? But no, I think this is definitely
still a beautiful place. I love the UK still, but anyway, the weather's obviously a little bit different. So you haven't, you've got quite a strong accent still.
Okay, yeah.
Is it fading down, or when you're talking to people, are they still sort of looking at you like, "Wow, that was quick"? Because you talk pretty quickly.
When I had a call this week with a client, they were like, "Oh, I expected an Aussie accent," and I'm like, no, but this little Yorkshire girl is definitely not going to lose the accent. The boys are starting to pick up on it, and Felicity as well. She's got an Australian boyfriend, so sometimes you can hear the twang in the kids. But me and Chris are very, very strong Yorkshire.
No, that's good. That's good. All right, so you rocked up on a cold winter's night in South Australia. People making it as dramatic as I can, and your first thoughts were like, what are we doing? And so how did it go? Like, from the Airbnb, what happened after that?
Yeah, so we all just got a good night's sleep that night, woke up the next day. I remember walking down to Seacliff Beach, beautiful beach in Adelaide, had breakfast and literally just looked at, the beach that we had got to and just thought, wow, how lucky are we? All the kids were super happy. They all had like massive grins on the face. And then it was just a case of just go out there and try and find somewhere to live and buy a car, all the things that you've got to do when you get out here. And obviously we weren't looking for jobs or schools or anything, so that was just put like on the back burner. Just exploring surroundings and having lots of walks out and just enjoying like the first. I think that's really important to people moving over, that you've got to enjoy it as well. Can't all just be admin and the boring things. But to be honest, we bought a car within 3 days and we got out exploring, and it was a good journey. Enjoyed it. If I think about it now, I could literally do it again. I just loved it.
It's good, isn't it? It's exciting. But you obviously had some money behind you. So how long was how much grace did you give yourself before you had to put the pressure on about getting jobs?
I think Chris was more stressed than me. Like, he always stresses about money. Even now, he's like, I'm the spender, he's the saver. But
I'm married too. I've got a wife as well. I get it.
I get it too. No, we just we sort of said, look, after 3 months, if the visa's not here, we'll go over like Bali or wherever and just sort of have a holiday and come back. I think we got a rental probably 2-3 weeks after we arrived, and we were savvy with money as well, so we'd have like days out. Sometimes we'd go to the zoo, and obviously that's going to cost money, but we just did a lot of things that were free or took picnics with us, but we didn't really give ourselves a grace period in money. We just sort of said, look, we'll just go with the flow, and obviously just really wanted that visa grant so then we could get out to work and stuff. But
So you arrive in the middle of winter.
Hmm.
You get the car. You see a few sites and all that. So the kids were all at school age. So did you put how long before you got them settled into school in South Australia?
So I actually went to Big W and got loads of homeschooling stuff. So there's not homeschooling, but like activity books and stuff more for the younger ones. But we arrived on the 27th of June and we got the visa granted on the 12th of September. So the kids were out of school obviously 2 months, and they were literally in school like that week. Like we enrolled them straight away pretty much because they were all ready
Yep.
to go. So yeah, by September, so they only had like a couple of months off school and then they were in. So I think it was good though because it gave them time to settle and like really like look around their environment where they were, and then just straight into school, and they all settled really well in school, so that was good.
What
Mason was too young to go to school, but the other two like went to school.
Jem, how do you explain to the listeners what Big W is? So we know it's a supermarket.
Oh yeah,
What's
okay.
that like in the UK? What's an example of that?
So that's like your as the living. So that's what I would like liken it to. They sell home things and stationery, clothes, literally everything, apart from like groceries. But yeah, pretty like for like with it as the living, I would say.
It's pretty cool. Like you get to spend. I mean, I don't know. Like as you say, when like we can always look back at life and do what we've got to do and reflect. But it's pretty rad that you got to actually be able to spend those time with the three kids at home.
Yeah.
I assume there would have been a bit of chaos trying to homeschool them for a couple of months. But looking back now, I mean, that would have been pretty fun.
Yeah, it really was. It was good. And my husband actually got into like palette making things. So he was like not bored, but on the days we didn't do things, he'd make things for the kids. So I remember him making like a palette furniture table, and he did a palette furniture kitchen, like a mud kitchen for the kids. So yeah, every day we found things to do. We just went to parks and beaches and got out and about. It was exciting. It was fun.
It does sound like quite a happy time. All right, so you're in South Australia. You get you rock up, the tourist visa, risk it, gets granted. A couple of months later, you could apply on shore. Fantastic. Had a bit of money behind you. Get a car. Now we're at the point where we've got to ask what happened. What South Australia. What you decided to move to WA? Was there what was the reason for that? You're going to break Lisa's heart here, by the way. She's a massive South Australia fan.
And I've met Lisa.
She might even turn this podcast off. But anyway, what happened? Why WA?
Yes, so obviously we had a couple of years in Adelaide. After about a year, me and Chris really wanted to buy a property, and we started to look around, and it was just pretty expensive. So we didn't have PR at the time, so obviously buying a property was quite expensive. So we decided to, my husband actually got sponsored for permanent residency back in Adelaide. And then we thought, right, great, we can buy a house. And then we sort of came on holiday to Perth, kind of fell in love with it. And then we just thought, well, is this going to suit us better? I love Adelaide, never would think anything bad about Perth. I think it's a beautiful, beautiful place. But I just felt Perth suited us better as a family. And I kind of fell in love with it when I came on holiday, and I was just like, we can buy a house a bit easier here, and like the stamp duty was a big factor for us as well. I mean, don't get me wrong, it was an expensive move to move states. We had to get another container and, ship the car over and all of that, but it was another risk, but obviously the Teale family just thrive on that. But yeah, it was just like, I don't know, I just literally just fell in love with it, and then it was like, oh, okay, we can maybe buy a house that's going to suit us a bit better. And the weather was a bit of a, it is a little bit warmer here. So we were like, let's just do it. So yeah, we're crazy, aren't we?
Look, it's good to hear that Chris didn't build you a pallet house. That's I guess that's a good thing. But
yeah,
you're so the kids are in school and that. So because I guess a year is a massive time. Like I've only been back in Oz since 2021, the end of 2021. So we're kind of just 2 and a little bit years in our little life back in Oz, in Melbourne, which we love. Yeah. Well, on the Mornington Peninsula, I guess. But that's a long time to be over there. And you mentioned, so you're on the temporary visa for 3 years, okay? Is that correct? And so it wasn't the fact that you had to pay more stamp duty in South Australia. It was the fact that the time you're in South Australia, plus when you decided to move to WA, then that allowed you to buy a house without paying the extra stamp duty?
Yeah, so we got the 489 in the September 2019, and I think it was literally about 3 or 4 months later, my husband's work sponsored him for a 186, and that got granted
Gotcha.
really quickly. Yeah, so
Gotcha.
he got
Okay.
well, he was a kitchen fitter in Adelaide. So we obviously got the 186, and
Yeah.
the boss there was like, yeah, we'll sponsor you for that. Got that. So obviously we had probably another year and a half in Adelaide, and then that's when it came to us that we were like, right, we want to move. So we have had a chat with the boss, and he was cool, but he didn't want to lose Chris because Chris was a good asset to him, but he understood as well, and they've got ties to WA as well. So yeah, so we come over here, and obviously already had the PR, so we could buy the house. So that was good.
Yep.
Looking back, you think, oh, you could have done things differently and what have you, but I just think the immigration process is never a straightforward thing, and you've got to do what's right for your family as well. So yeah,
I think
just went with the flow. And
you worded it really right. You do have to do what's right with your family, and it sounds like Chris went about it pretty honest with his boss, and I'll probably just expand that onto the listeners as well. So certain visas, if you're a permanent resident holder, you get the same rights as in Australia when it comes to buying houses and everything like that. If
yeah,
you're on a temporary visa, you've got to pay more stamp duty. That's what I was referring to before. But the 186 E&S visa is a fantastic visa which requires you to hold a positive skills assessment, employ to nominate you, which is a permanent residency visa. So they're amazing. If you can get your hands on them, that's really good. So, all right. So you rock up. How'd the kids adjust with changing? There'll be a few different schools in a couple of years. How'd they feel?
Yeah. So that was another factor as well. Obviously, we've moved Felicity over from the UK at 15, and at this point she's like 17. So she was up for the move. She was excited for the move, but she's got a boyfriend that she's been with a few years now. I think they've been together about 3 years. So she was really apprehensive about leaving him. And the 2 boys, they just embraced it. I'm very proud of them, actually. They've done really well because they have been to like 3 schools in now. But they've settled really well. And the school that we got them in, we literally moved on the Thursday and got them into school, I think it's like the Monday. But Hayden was transitioning to high school anyway. He only had it sounds really mean now, but he only had 1 term in primary school before he went up to high school in the February. So he was going to hit high school anyway. So
Yep.
no, I think they've done really well, and we've literally just been really honest with them the whole process. Just if you upset about something, come to us. And yeah, we probably have been a little bit selfish moving around and so many times, but I feel like we're settled now. We're not going anywhere. We're happy here, and yeah, they're happy, which is the main thing.
You worded it really well because you're telling them that you're here for them, you're there for them. And I think at the end of the day, there's nothing wrong with changing states. It's really common. I mean, you moved to Australia. You said you'd never been to Australia before you came. Yeah. So, you're just looking at, and many of our clients do this. Yeah. Nothing wrong with it at all. You look at it and you go, okay, there's probably different values. Yeah. Maybe this country has. Obviously, the weather's a big factor. I just love the lifestyle, for me and my family. That's a big tick. WA is an amazing place. I also think that South Australia is a bit of a hidden secret, actually. I think lots of people that live in South Australia don't like, I'm probably going to blow their cover now, but they really don't like, I'm on a few Facebook groups and they're like, well, just don't tell everyone. It is a pretty good place. Yeah. So, kids are thriving at school now, and you got, Felicity's 20, so she's got the partner, but is she working, university? What's she up to?
Yeah, so she applied for a couple of TAFE courses, but she's decided she's not sure on what she wants to do. So she's just working at the minute part-time at Coles. So she's just deciding what she wants to do. So I think she wanted to get into fashion design, that kind of thing, and home interior. That's kind of her vibe. But I've just said to her, look, take a year out, decide what you want to do, and then she'll just, She's like me. She just didn't know what she wanted to do. I wanted to be like me. I got into travel agency when I was at her age, but she's like, no, Mum, that's not for me. So I think she's just going to work and then work it all out sort of when she wants. Me and Chris have just been like, just do what makes you happy, so. Yeah.
Do you feel that there's a lot of opportunity? Because obviously, with a 9-year-old, a 14-year-old, with a 20-year-old, do you feel making the decision to move to Australia that you're giving the kids those opportunities?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. All the both the boys are enrolled in like soccer. That's just they live, breathe, eat soccer. They love it. So Hayden's in the soccer elite at high school, which he got into, I think, in year 8. So it took him a little bit of time to adjust. Yeah, like they do swimming lessons and they're always out doing. I mean, I'm out like 3 or 4 times a week doing after school sports, which is tiring, but I love it for them. Yeah, like they just embrace it. They love it, and they're outside, as I say, quite a lot. Don't get me wrong. Sometimes they do sit on the switches inside, and we've got a pool now, so they can get in that when it gets too hot. And I try as much to get them outside. So yeah, no, they are thriving really well out actually.
Now, WA, you've gone through a massive. Well, I don't know how normal it is over there, but what do you reckon? This year seems like it's been scorching over in Western Australia.
Yeah, it's been super, super hot. Like, remember when we first moved over to Perth? It was the December, the first Christmas we had here, and it was like 42 degrees for like 6 days straight. So I thought that was hot. And then this summer, it's
That
like
is hot.
it's really, it is really hot. It was like I don't know why I was trying to make a Christmas dinner, Christmas lunch in that heat, and my husband would just sat there like, "What do you mean?" He's just literally just like, "Oh, you all right there?" I'm like, "No, not really." But this summer, I feel like it's been warm, but then all of a sudden it's got to February and it's just been like, yeah, like a furnace. It's been so warm, and we've just camped at the weekend as well. Don't know how we did it because it was 42 degrees on Sunday, but we did it. We did it.
You are very outdoors. I see you hang around with lots of other duckers, which lots of other clients of ours, which is great. But you're always off outdoors camping and all that. So just give us a bit of a rundown of what that or of how that would work. I mean, for Aussies, obviously it's a pretty straightforward thing, but how do you explain it? Get prepared. You in a caravan, you in a tent. Just give us a rundown.
So we bought a camper trailer for about, I think we paid about $750. My husband travelled down to Margaret River, got that. It was literally a wreck. It needed to be, completely start from beginning. So got that back, and it took him about 9 months to do it up, put all new canvas on it. So yeah, we've got a camper trailer. So we just take that out. Just now and again, we'll hit the road. We did a little bit of free camping over New Year's Eve and what have you. That was quite good. Went down to Bunbury, just done Swan Valley, so we just did 40 minutes away at the weekend. That was just for Hayden's birthday. But yeah, we've got out to Bustleton in it, and we love it. Like, I'd love to upgrade to a caravan, but this suits us at the minute, just with the kids and Fliss. And so CJ lives with us. He's Felicity's boyfriend. He's got a swag, so they come over with us in a double swag. So it's just a massive family adventure every time I go out, which is fun.
God, how do you explain a swag to the listeners, Gemma? Go, give it a go.
Oh my gosh, I know. I'm coming out with all these Aussie words, and I bet everybody's like, what is going on? Swag. I don't know, like a small tent that literally just fits 1 or 2 people in.
It's a waterproof duvet cover, I guess we'll call it. Doona. There's another Aussie word, doona. Duvet cover that you basically roll out, but it's protected, and usually you just got a little... Oh God, I don't know why I started explaining this because I've had this question before. It's so hard to explain. And then you got like a little, like where your head would be at the top. You put this little flexible bar in, and then that sort of you slide into that, and then you just roll it up. So it's a lot easier than setting a tent up. And I guess it's a good way to sleep under the stars, but you're also on the ground. So just tell CJ the little tip of getting a hammock. And you roll the hammock up in the middle of it. That's what I did when I was traveling around Oz, and it was awesome because then you're not on the ground and you're sort of swinging, and it's sort of a bit more of it's like sort of sleeping on a cloud, I guess. You're sort of floating up there.
That's really
you haven't
cool.
got those pesky animals, trying to sniff you out in the middle of the night.
They bought one of those off the ground like bed things, like in extended. I can't remember what they're called now, but literally bought one of them, and it's sometimes they use that, sometimes they just roll out the mattress. But they love it. They seem to love it. So as long as they're happy.
What's your theory on, like, everyone goes off snakes, spiders? I guess a lot of people from Leeds would have been like, Gemma, are you mad? You're going to see all the snakes and the spiders and all that sort of stuff. But reality, are you seeing them? You're in a totally different state to me. You're in a very warm state, very dry state. What's the wildlife like when you're camping or just at home?
I've not really seen them when I'm camping. You see the odd spider. I've not seen any snakes when we've been camping. You more see the snakes by sort of, down by the beach and the dunes if going on a bit of a beach walk or an esplanade walk with the dogs sometimes. I have seen like a few brown snakes, but I would probably say I think I saw one in Adelaide and maybe 2 or 3 here. Not loads, not loads. So you just keep out of the way. I'm a bit scared of snakes. I'm more scared of them than I am spiders. But you just keep out of the way, I suppose, don't you? Because they're very dangerous things to.
I'm the opposite. No, spiders are harder. Yeah. They're sneaky.
It's snakes for me. It's just their little beady eyes. I'm scared stiff of them. Always have been. But I think, when you see one, I think it just freaks you out a little bit, but just give them a wide berth and just watch where you're walking when you're out walking in, grass and stuff. So, yeah.
Gemma, let's go back to the house. So you bought a house. So just run through, like what's it like buying a property in WA?
Yeah, it was a pretty good process for us, actually. So, obviously, we moved over in the October. I think we looked into it maybe December time, spoke to a mortgage advisor, and by the March, we had a mortgage in place. So, pretty quick, actually. We bought a house by the April, and it took literally 3 weeks to go through. Bought a 4-bedroom, 2-bathroom house in Joondalup for $485. So we did pretty good. It needs a bit of work. It needs quite a lot of work. We're renovating at the minute, but my husband works, the hours that he does and the kids and the sports. He's actually elected himself to become the soccer coach on Hayden's team. So he's quite busy as well. So when we do get chance at weekends, we'll try and, do the work on the house that we need to do it because we've got a big family. So maybe we might expand to a bigger house eventually. But for now, this does us right.
Yeah, well, it sounds like it was a pretty good process. I know the feeling with Chris. Yeah. I'm actually my son Jet's AFL coach for the under-9s. So I got training this afternoon, and it's so different, Gemma, because because it's cricket season and footy season. Australia is pretty big with cricket, but we can't use the normal training oval at Sorrento because the cricketers are using it, and the practice training ground we're on isn't being. They're playing a practice game there of cricket. So I sent the WhatsApp group out to the team, and we're actually training at Rye Beach this afternoon from 4:00. So. It's about 31 degrees here, and I can imagine we'll probably do a bit of run, and then I can imagine with 30-odd kids under 9, there's going to be a few pier jumps, but it'll probably be a few swimming, and we'll do some more sort of fun water activities because it's only pre-season. Who would have thought that's what that's cool. I reckon that's awesome for the kids to be able to do that. But that's just reality here, isn't it? That's what you do.
Yeah, it is, and it's a good way of integrating yourself and. He did it in Adelaide as well. So when the opportunity came up here, they were a bit short on coaches. Well, they're short on everything. So I kind of nominated him for it. Not that he's got enough going on, but he does love it. And, it's good for Hayden as well because, having his dad coach and, kind of, sometimes I don't know if he enjoys it, but they enjoy it. Tuesday, Thursdays, they're out there. And they've got a good little team. So it's, like you said, good socialising. And
is Hayden team's got other people from the UK in it, or is he or is it quite multicultural, or how does that work?
Yeah, predominantly Australian. So I think there's one Irish boy, and the rest are Aussies. So that's good. All of his friends are Aussie anyway, so he doesn't really have any English friends.
Yeah, it's weird because when you said soccer before, I was thinking, these poor people in Leeds are going to be super cross with you as well, calling it soccer. That must, I guess for Chris, does he call it footy or soccer?
He just calls it soccer too. I mean, to be fair, if you say football here, it means a completely different thing. So you might as well you might as well embrace it. So soccer, but yes, if I put things on Facebook saying, the boys have been to soccer this morning, I do get corrected, but I'm like, come and live here and be here nearly 5 years and then you'll be calling it soccer. It's just easier, isn't it? So, yeah.
No, this is awesome. I reckon you guys have done such a great job. Lisa, we'll bring you into the room and let's get, you and Gemma talking a bit about the relocation side. Obviously, there's a fair bit. There's a whole other side to you, Gemma. Obviously, you've been a client of the Down Under Centre and you've got a story to tell, which is good. And you may as well sort of merge them with these things. So, Lisa, do you have any questions you want to throw Gemma's way?
Yeah, thanks, Wes, and thanks, Gemma, for joining us. Just a bit of backstory. So I met Gemma first in Adelaide. I think I arrived maybe about 3 months or so after you arrived, Gemma.
Oh, so we found the real reason, did we, Gemma?
Yeah.
Finally figured it out. The whole house and getting a job was just a lie. Anyway, carry on, Lisa.
Yeah. So I arrived in the September, and I remember we had a meet up on the beach at Port Noarlunga with a load of other poms as well. That was a pretty cool afternoon.
That was nice.
Yeah, and then you kind of lived quite close by, and we bumped into each other in the shops and stuff. And then
we did at Woolworths. I remember that. Yeah, Seaford Meadows.
Yeah.
Not long ago.
Exactly. And then you went off to Western Australia, obviously. And then we've been working together since 2022 on the relocation department, and you obviously help people that are making a move to North Perth with the calls and the home search service.
Yeah.
So do you want to just describe like what you do as a relocation agent, Gemma?
Yeah, absolutely. So relocation calls are, with the clients, they're absolutely great. It's so awesome to talk to clients moving over. We get a good relationship going, which is awesome. So I enjoy doing the relocation calls. And obviously now we're doing the home search service, which has really become a great asset to clients moving over, being able to secure a property before they arrive. We've been doing that a little while now. Just all these North Perth DUC clients that are coming over, they just will speak to me and, we'll have a chat about where the good suburbs are. And I think it's become a real good social thing as well. Like, people are meeting people with everything that the DUC do. So, but predominantly just securing the properties for them and having, these relocation calls, which I feel like are just so invaluable to people moving over. I wish we'd have had that when we moved over.
Yeah, definitely. And so obviously you help people moving to North Perth. What is it that makes Perth so popular? Because you're quite busy within your job.
Yeah. I feel like Perth's just a good all-round place. I feel like it's a very easy place to live. It's very relaxed. Beaches are beautiful. I think the weather attracts people. Affordability, perhaps. Obviously, that's changing all the time because it's becoming more and more popular. But I do feel like it's still like really affordable to live in Perth. And just everything's like within ease. I mean, myself being in Joondalup, if I need anything, it's like within 5-10 minutes. It's a very sort of great suburb to live in. And I just feel like everybody loves Perth because it's just popular and it's amazing. It's a great place to live, and that's what I tell my clients anyway, that it's the best. It's the best. I love it.
Yeah, have you found that it's changed a lot in the time that you've lived there? Because I find that Adelaide has changed a lot in the almost 5 years that I've been here. It feels like it's got busier and bigger and all that kind of stuff.
Definitely does feel a little bit busier. And obviously rentals are changing in price as well. When we moved over, we did a 6-month lease before we bought, and I do feel like, the house prices have changed a little bit. I do think it's got a little bit busier, but it's still like sometimes you can go to the beach and be the only one on the beach as well. Like that's kind of the beauty of being here. There's so many like hidden little beaches that you can go to, and it's a stunning place to call home. Yeah,
it's a coastal city, isn't it, with the beach that runs all the way down?
Yeah, right down to down as far as Cottesloe. There's a 22-kilometre like coastal drive that you can do. So that's pretty nice to drive along. But in Adelaide you have like the beach and the road right next to it. Here in Perth we have the dunes, so you don't get as good view as what you do in Adelaide. That's one thing I do miss about Adelaide, the amazing views. You can drive along and just see that ocean. Whereas here you've got a bit of a restricted view with the dunes, but yeah, when you do get to the beach, it is stunning.
Yeah, for sure. And the weather, what's it like there? What's the kind of seasons like there?
Yeah, so summer's obviously just super, super hot. Obviously lately it's been super more hot than normal, but yeah, winter's quite mild. July, August can be rainy, which is kind of a good relief. But through the day, you can still get out and explore and do things, and it can still, sort of hit 18, 19 degrees through the day. Spring and autumn tend to be a little bit cooler than summer, but still super warm, and they're the ideal place at times to go camping and get out and about. Summer we tend to hibernate a little bit, and even though we've just been camping at the weekend, but yeah, we've got the AC and the pool if the kids need that. So yeah, summers can be a little bit brutal sometimes, can't they? Yeah,
I mean, we're not as brutal as you. I think we've had the last week or so above 30 degrees, and today's 36 degrees. And
yeah, that's warm.
That in itself can be quite restrictive, particularly with children when they want to go out on their bikes and do football and stuff, because it is just too hot, isn't it, sometimes? So sometimes that kind of spring and autumn and particularly winter can be quite nice, because you can just get out and do all the things that you can't do in the summer, because summer is just about beaches and pools, really.
It is, just to keep cool. Yeah, I can't wait to get back out on my bike. I don't dare go on it, at the minute, but it's just too hot. Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. So we'll just wrap up in a moment, but within your job as a relocation agent, have you made any connections with real estate agents and with the clients as well? Have you made any friends?
Yeah, absolutely. So real estate agents have been a great asset to, myself. So basically when we get clients in, I will reach out to those real estate agents and they will send me some pre-market properties, which is good. And, I've had some private viewings as well, so that's good. But yeah, in general, obviously we all have the same sort of opportunity. But making the good, the connections that I've made with real estate agents has really been useful. They say that they like to work with relocation agents as well, because we're just we know what we're doing, and they know what they're looking for in an application, and just building the great relationships and friends too. Yeah, we've got a great friendship circle out here that myself and Chris have. Many of them are DUC clients as well, which is so good, and just formed great connections and hang out together and do things together, which is nice.
Perfect. And you've done a few meetups as well?
Yeah, so we did a joint one back in, I think it was about a year ago now, down at Bayswater, which is sort of in the middle of North and South. So that was really successful. And then we had one back in October. That was a super hot day at Burns Beach. That was a North Perth one. Bit of a sausage sizzle for the newbies, and we had the oldies as welcome. And then we are arranging one for the 6th of March. I'm going to do that in Mullaloo Beach, at Mullaloo Beach at the park. So that will be quite good, because I feel like, it's just nice for people to connect and, go through the same sort of things that we can all, exchange stories. And then I think me and Neely are actually going to arrange a a Middle Perth one. So we can get the South Perth and the North Perth Duckers together, and that'll be pretty exciting. So hopefully we'll sort something like that in the next few months.
Great. Maybe that can coincide with when I come over and we can get together or something.
Yeah, that would be really good, actually. Yeah, no, that'd be awesome.
I'm looking forward to seeing this amazing place. So thanks Gemma. Thanks for sharing your story.
Very welcome. Thank you both. It's been great.
Good on you, Gemma. What a great story, Lisa. Just make sure if you do visit that Gemma doesn't, move off again. She might end up in Melbourne. We never know.
I am not moving anywhere, I promise you.
Good stuff. Yeah. Guys, well, cheers for listening and tune in for the next podcast. All right, see you next time. Cheers, everyone.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.